Hey everybody. I was going to go to bed, but then I was scrolling on my phone and I saw this shit right here. Right? My most popular video, inexplicably, is the last video I did where I was just BSing to a camera. But what I was BSing about, right? I said, I'll quote myself, "Mark my words, Bethesda will never again be a great studio." And, it's funny, because I was right, right? Um, Bethesda is one of these major companies that got hit with the Xbox layoffs recently. And there's been some reporting coming out, right? I'll throw it up, that says something about 14 different layers of management. 14. Alright? There is no world where that's sane. Okay? On Coruscant or on a fucking hive planet, okay? That's still ridiculous. That's still unbelievable. But, we live in a mad clown world, so. Anyway, something I've been saying for years, right, long before I ever started a YouTube channel, was, and yet again I'll quote myself, "Mark my words, there will never be a Fallout New Vegas 2. Right? There will never be a Fallout Obsidian 2. And, to my surprise, I was wrong. Right? Like, Chris Avallone and Tom, I'm not sure if Chris Avallone's involved actually, I haven't looked up that yet, but Tom Sawyer, not Tom Sawyer, Josh Sawyer, holy fuck, I'm stupid. Josh Sawyer is apparently the project lead. Again. Right? And that bodes extremely well. Frankly, I think that some people need to get fired, and their names rhyme with Emil Pagliaro and Tom Howard, because these two guys were in charge of a money printing machine. All they had to do was go to work and do their fucking jobs. But instead, they fucked around and fucked off and made a shitty TV show and yada yada, whatever, it doesn't matter. Obsidian, placing Josh Sawyer in charge of the proverbial Fallout New Vegas 2, it's a good sign, right? But I'm not so sure about Obsidian's track record in the last 10 years, right? Fallout New Vegas came out, 2010, 2011, maybe 2012, I don't know the exact year. But, that's coming up on 14, 15, 16 years ago now. And, I'm really not so sure that any of the games they've released in the last 10 years were any good, really. I played The Outer Worlds because I was a huge, huge fan of Fallout New Vegas. I think it's the greatest fucking RPG ever made. And I was disappointed with The Outer Worlds. It felt shallow and boring and lame, and not a fucking thing about it mattered. Right? And, I'll probably say this in most of the videos going forward, but don't listen to me, alright? I'm just a jackass, alright? My opinions mean much less than the average person's. So if I'm talking a bunch of shit, just, he's a chump, move on, right? But I really disliked The Outer Worlds because it wasn't even close to the genius that I feel the Fallout New Vegas was. And then afterward, right, you have titles like Grounded, right? And Grounded, I never played, but somebody I know played it, and they really, really enjoyed it. And I respect this person's opinion, so I'll just say that it was probably an alright game. But then you got some goofy nonsense like fucking Avowed, or just some of the other things that they've been working on in the past few years. I'll throw a fucking collage up or something. But I don't know that finding the one guy who was in charge of the last game is going to be enough, frankly, to outweigh the talent pool changing, right? And that's real fucking tragic to me personally, right? Like, I'm not getting my hopes up. I've wanted a Fallout New Vegas 2 for so fucking long, and I think if any game studio that got fucked harder, I can't think of one than Obsidian fucking Entertainment, right? And I'm referencing a very, very well-known incident about the Metacritic score, and how, if I remember correctly, Obsidian was supposed to get, if they got an 85 Metacritic score for the PC review. And very, very famously, they got an 84, right? And I don't know who I would be quoting, but I know I heard this quote on the internet somewhere, and it's like, you cannot convince me that some shady backrooms fuckery did not happen at the time when that happened, right? Because 1 point off, right? It's one of the literally the greatest game of all time, in this man's humble opinion. Right, and I know that there's a lot of people who agree with me. Obviously, that's like just a subsect of the super fans, but I think for a game to even be in the running for GOAT status, which it is, to get an 84, I mean, come on, what are we doing, guys? What are we doing? Ugh. That all happened years ago, and the people involved, I would say the victims in this scenario, but they're not victims. The recipients of poor treatment, most of them, and I'm talking about Josh Sawyer and some of the other people at the time who worked for Obsidian, they've went on record saying how, Bethesda treated them great, and it was just part of the deal, right? And it's like, and they took that hit personally, right? Like, they felt like they didn't do a good enough job, which, let's be real, there were problems with the game, especially on the early release days, right? And it's like, if you're old enough to remember, the load times weren't great, there was a lot of crashing, there was a lot of bugs, but even still, I don't know what I'm going to title this video yet, but I think it's going to be Don't Get Your Hopes Up for Fallout New Vegas 2. Because, frankly, even if Josh Sawyer, who, is just he made a game, with the help of a lot of other people, but he made a game that's in contention for GOAT status, right? He's a GOAT game designer at that point, right? Like, that's how that tree works, Even for a GOAT game designer like himself to be placed in charge once again, I don't know that it's going to outweigh the tides of change. And I'm not getting my hopes up. And I'm saying that as a superfan's superfan. Yeah, I think that's about it. Have a good rest of your evening.